We might have to wait for the game to finish before we can record.
There's a game?
There's seconds left!
So it'll go into overtime.
What is going on? Sports is happening?
Yeah, it's game 6 of 7 of the playoffs. Toronto versus Boston.
Of what sport?
Basketball.
Oh, okay. I kind of figured because
2 seconds left.
I kind of figured
it's tied.
That existed. They're going into overtime.
Yeah, I know, but Lee is passionate about it.
I will call it 9/10 of a second.
Yes, dear.
I'm dying, Squirrel.
I guess, if she gets energetic, it'll just have to be in the show.
Fine.
Charming side commentary.
Yes, of course. I'll put it in the background.
We're Bumble, we're Casty, we're all a little nasty, and on this broadcasty, we're invading your PC. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is my Warner brother, Kyle, JCRB Krause.
Wow. How long have you had that one sitting in your back pocket? That's impressive.
Came to me right before you signed on. I'm like, chat, should I do this? And they're like, definitely.
Wow. Good thing I was too busy not paying attention to the chat. So I completely missed that. You caught me off guard completely. Very nice.
Thank you. How are you, sir?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
I am super ecstatic because last week they announced Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity.
Woo-hoo.
And I am super duper hyped for that. Like, watching the trailer, I didn't catch what the thumbnail was, so I thought it was going to be an expansion to Breath of the Wild, and then they tried out that brief glimpse of Zelda. I'm like, oh, cool, you get to play as Zelda in this? Wait, you get to play as Mipha? Is that Urbosa? Wait, what is this? And then Hyrule Warriors, and it's like, yep, done, sold. Day one. Gimme.
Funny, I haven't actually watched the trailer yet, but I've seen everything else, and I'm like, oh.
It's a good trailer.
Oh, yes.
It's a good trailer.
I mean,
and
were there any guitars in it? Because that's usually a telltale sign of it being a Warriors game, unless it's a...
No, they're playing this pretty close to the vest so far. This is, just trotting out the idea. Here you are, a pure fan service, this is how it went game, but it's in the Hyrule Warriors style. There's going to be more news later this month, and there I'm sure we'll get some guitars at some point.
Yeah. I mean, for some reason, the Dragon Quest versions of the Warriors games, Dragon Quest Heroes, they don't have any guitars, which is like, what are you doing? What is this? You're doing it all wrong. It's all the same orchestral arrangements that the Dragon Quest series has been known for years. It's like, come on, guys. You're doing a Warriors game. Let's change things up a little bit. It's a Muso game.
I don't know, because this isn't just Hyrule Warriors, which was a celebration of the franchise. This is a canonical prequel.
Sure.
So I don't know if they'll try to skew closer to the source material and stay true to its sound, or if we'll get a little bit of the rock and guitar.
Well, they shouldn't. Put the guitars in there. Dang it. I demand it.
In the trailer, we have a brief glimpse of a Sheikah character kneeling next to Link. We know Impa was active during that time period, so I'm assuming that's Impa. I'm going to guess we get a Sheik-style gameplay out of her. I'm hoping that they more or less reuse the model for Pura from that era. I'm guessing she might be kind of like Lana's summoning gate in terms of gameplay, using a modified Sheikah slate to like summon up mini guardians or something. I don't know. Aaliyah pointed out that Prince Sidon is too young at that point, the continuity fight, but I would be really happy to see Chibi Sidon running around, ducking under all the enemy blows because he's too short, but still wailing on stuff with an axe.
Nothing a little time travel can't fix.
I am really, really hoping that they take a page out of Halo Reach and they put you in the field as Link alone doing his final stand against the 100 Guardians that finally take him down. And you're not scored on how fast you complete the level. You're scored on how long you last until they finally finish you. And it's going to break your heart because you know it's coming and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Kyle, I need this game.
What's funny, it's funny because this is a game where you know at the end you lose. Like you can't win. You have to lose.
There's not even like a smidgen of happy ending here.
Not really.
You know that everybody loses and nothing's going to change for another 100 years. This is, if they do it right, it's going to be this wonderfully dark, horribly depressing ending, and it's going to be great. And if they try to put too much of a spin on it, I think it's going to undercut it, but it's too early to say, and I could probably geek out and speculate for another full hour, but we have questions to answer. So
yeah, we could talk about this, but you know, the people have spoken and they want more questions. Well, no, they want more answers.
This week we're just doing the one episode, but we're doing a full episode. We're still experimenting with the splitting it or not thing, gauging how much content we have. But if you want your question answered on the show, you can contact us by emailing it to BumbleKast@yahoo.com, tweet to us on Twitter @BumbleKast, comment on any of the YouTube videos, just somewhere in the comments. If you want your question answered sooner rather than later, you can buy your way to the head of the line by becoming a $5 patron at patreon.com/BumbleKast or donating $6 to kofi.com/BumbleKast. That's ko-fi.com/BumbleKast. Please be sure to include your question. And if you're just donating straight to us, because we've had some very generous folks just throw money at us. Like, we will give you incentives. We will give you the prizes that the patrons would normally get. But if you want to just throw money at us like some of these people are, you know, you are awesome, and thank you so much. We appreciate it. Now, if you are going to ask a question, please first check the FAQ over at bumbleking.com. Don't ask anything about what was going to happen in the old Archie books that will be eventually covered in Lost Hedgehog Tales. And check the last couple of episodes. If we've already answered that question, we're not going to answer it again. So do those three, and that way you're not wondering, why hasn't my question been answered yet? So with all that out of the way, let's jump right into the priority Q&A.
All right, let's do it. First up, we got one from Papadripopolous. You mentioned you were in a canceled project writing a story connected to Metal Gear Solid 5 to the first Metal Gear. Small question. Can you give more information about that, about the project, or about your idea itself?
Probably not, just because you never know when something might shift. Basically, it was going to follow Venom Snake's transition from Big Boss's double to his own kind of villainous persona. I wanted to play with the psychological aspect of it and how his mentality would be breaking down the recruitment of the bosses and all that jazz, the establishment of Outer Heaven or in Zanzibar Land and all that. But it was in the very, very early planning stages. I only got so far as the research and the general story pitch. I didn't get into any of the nitty gritty. But man, did it put a taste in my mouth. Oh, wish that project had gone forward.
All right, next one. It's from BlueTidalGamer. Ian, since Vanilla's debut in the Sonic series, we've known very little about her other than her being Cream's mother and that she raised her to be polite and formal to others via strict teachings. We know nothing about the life she lives, and we hardly get to see her do much other than appear in stories to give Cream personal motivation. My question is, how would you personally approach a character like Vanilla to give her more of a background and something to do in her life?
That is an interesting question because we don't get a lot of adults in the Sonic franchise.
True.
Especially with direct family. So where to take Vanilla's character, I'm honestly not sure. Because it's really hard to contextualize her in the typical Sonic narrative. That and she's kind of a tertiary character because Cream, as popular as she may be, is more of a supporting character than one of the mainliners. And Vanilla is a supporting character to Cream. So by that nesting doll logic, she doesn't have a ton of priority. What I would really like to do one day, and don't hold your breath waiting for this, but pie in the sky, what I'd like to see happen is establish her as a Chow gardener, for lack of a better term. I don't want to say Chow rancher. That brings the wrong vision to mind. I don't want to know where Chaos Cola comes from. No. But someone who has trained and learned the ways of properly rearing Chow in a professional capacity, so that you don't just have the babbies running around willy-nilly. She has them, eating right and participating in races for their general benefit. Maybe she established the Chow kindergarten. I don't know. But I'd like to see something happen with that, just because there's such a strong correlation between that family and Chow. BlueTidalGamer also has a question for you, Kyle.
Oh, boy.
What are your personal top 5 favorite soundtracks from any video game?
Okay. This question, I'm a little... I need some clarification on this question, maybe? I don't know. Like, are you asking my personal top 5 favorite tracks from a game, or my personal top 5 favorite video game soundtracks? That's where I'm
seems
getting...
like he wants the full soundtracks.
Like my top 5 favorite video game soundtracks. Okay. Well, most of them are racing games, if that's any surprise. Let's see. I mean, there's so many. It's really hard for me to narrow it down to 5, honestly, because there's so many good ones, and I just But I'll just drop a few. Wave Race 64, legendary soundtrack. If you are familiar with Wii Sports or any other of Kazumi Totaka's work, you kind of know the feeling. You kind of know the flavor. It's that jazz fusion deliciousness. And it has this nice beachside feeling to it. It's a very uplifting soundtrack. Let's see what else. Oh boy, man, it's hard to say more racing games. I'm just like, Daytona is the obvious one. Like I can't leave Daytona out. Any Daytona, actually. It's hard to pick just one. Because, you got Daytona, you got Daytona 2, you got other variations and ports that have variations on the soundtrack. You have the Saturn release, the Championship Circuit Edition, which had some exclusive tracks. You had all sorts of stuff for that one. So, I don't know, put it all under one umbrella. The Daytona umbrella, sure. Jeez, like a Sonic game. Sonic 3 and Knuckles is way up there for me. If we're talking Mario games, the best Mario game soundtrack. Oh, man. That's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
That's a real tough one. Mario 3, but then you have Mario 64, but then you have Mario Odyssey. Yeah, I don't know, man. There's so many good soundtracks. I'm trying to think of something like more obscure, I guess. I don't know. It's the thing is now I'm put on the spot, so it's hard to think of anything. And yet I have millions of choices, millions of potential choices. So I don't know.
Here's the sky, Kyle. Pick out 5 stars.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I'm at now. It's like, man, it's like I'm going to leave out something that I know it was like an obvious one in hindsight. And yeah, I think that's right. Video game soundtracks are my favorite. It's true. Video game music, remixes, soundtracks, I like them all. It's tough to decide for me. there's just so much good stuff out there that it's impossible. Like Mega Man, Mega Man 9 is still my favorite for classic series. And if we're talking X1, I can't deny X1. It's the obvious choice, but it's the obvious choice for a reason. Street Fighter's got really good music. Jeez, it's tough. I'm just gonna name every video game ever made, and that's where we're gonna end up. So yeah, I don't know. Does that give you an idea? Is that satisfactory answer, Blue Title Gamer? I hope that works. Dig Dug has great music. I will not deny that. It has one song, but it's a great song.
If you want to tell Kyle what his top 5 should be, comment in the section below.
Yes, actually, let us know your favorite video game music soundtracks. And they don't have to just be Sonic. If you like others, you say it. Say it down there. Let us know. Next question comes from Andrew D. Did you have any plans for Mr. X after the Mega Man 6 adaptation? In the final issue, we see in a one-page summary the events of Mega Man 6 and what seems to be Mr. X getting thrown into a portal.
I think Andrew asked this right after we recorded the last episode, or the last time we touched on this. So that is kind of the loophole for the check the previous episode. If it hasn't come out yet and you ask your question, you can't do much about it.
And if it's priority, we're a little.
In summation, I don't think I remember I had much plans for him after that. After he gets booted at the end of Mega Man 6 and Wily takes over, I think that was supposed to be the end for him. But who knows? Things might have changed.
Yeah. Next up, T-Cos. Hey, Ian, I had been browsing through the old Q&A threads on the BKC forums via the Wayback Machine and found an interesting question where someone asked you about the Power Gems. At the time, you had answered that you would be touching upon them in the encyclopedia. I checked as best as I could my copy of the Sonic Comic Encyclopedia for any entries about them and couldn't find any. I also checked any issues regarding them because I could have sworn it said somewhere that they were created by Robotnik or were a mineral dug up but found neither. So what do you think was the deal with the Power Gems? Were they man-made gems or were they something naturally occurring that could be found in the world?
I am going off of rusty memory here because it's been a long time since I've even had to take that into account. But I am pretty sure they only ever showed up in the Knuckles Chaotix special, except when they were part of Shard, but that's kind of not related. And I'm pretty sure Heavy and Bomb specified that they were manufactured by Robotnik, I think. And I want to say that when we were composing the encyclopedia and I was trying to find where to put them, they got like a offhand mention in an article somewhere. I don't think they got a full article to themselves because, again, they didn't really have much of an impact in the narrative. They were an excuse for Knuckles to get huge at the end of the special, and it was trotted out again to explain why Shard, or Metal Sonic at the time, had any kind of extra power. So that's about it, I think.
All right, next one is NASB. How would you or another writer have tackled Katella the Huntress? She's arguably more interesting than Breezy, and her story is open-ended to continuation. I think she's too problematic to bring over other than in name only. Or could that be circumvented successfully for fans?
I can't speak for other writers, but myself, there was one or two fans on a particular online venue who were hardcore about getting Katella brought over for some reason. Probably a very clear reason, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and not assume. So I actually queued up that episode and went through it again going, why? But I think if you take the core components of her and remix them a bit, you could come up with something kind of interesting because she's from outer space. She has a big spaceship. She's all about hunting down sentient beings. And at one point she uses puppets to lure Sonic in, I believe. So let's rework that a little bit, make her a kind of alien conqueror or some kind of interdimensional travel. Maybe she's an offshoot of Gun. I don't know. Let's just work in that she's got a spaceship and she's capable of travel in ways that are greater than your usual villain. Let's take those puppets and turn them into kind of creepy marionette doppelgangers. Ways that she can deploy and use to lure people in to traps or get them off guard or to misdirect. Maybe she uses those that are captured and kind of brainwashes and uses as marionette-like slaves to do similar effects. Put a kind of a twist on the robotization thing where it isn't the body that's transformed, but the mind. And I think you could make a decent enough remix out of the character from there. I don't know if the cheetah print leotard over blue tights would work, but we took Von Schlimmer and made him something a little more Sonic-y, so I'm sure Katella could be reworked in that way.
Whatever. People are into the 80s designs again. Yeah, just
that's true.
Drop her in there. Boom.
Epic shoulder pads.
Yep. That's what we need. All right, that's it for the priority Q&A. Let's jump on into the standard Q&A then with Tick Tick. Thanks for clearing up the two worlds thing. I mean, questionable on whether it's actually been cleared up or not, but no, it's not your fault, Ian. This is me, by the way, saying this. Me, Kyle, not Tick Tick. Tick Tick continues. My question for you now is, have you ever felt the urge to just ask every question about game continuity you possibly could? Or do you feel that is a dangerous thing to do? Do you fear angering Sega by pointing out their plot holes, or are you afraid of the potential answers you get only opening up more questions?
Actually, when IDW Sonic started up and we had a more direct, line with Sega, I actually put together a list of continuity questions because we were going to be starting fresh. We were going to be starting much closer to the game canon. So I figured, I'm going to try. And before I sent it off, I cut it down by half because it was really getting super nerdy. And it's like, let's act professional. Remember, you're an adult.
Whatever.
So I fired off about, a dozen pointed questions on stuff that I thought would be the most immediately concerning going in, and got some interesting and insightful answers on that. No, I'm not sharing those. Those are all internal stuff. I already share too much internal stuff. It is as it is, probably. But it was illuminating, to say the least. In terms of angering Sega, no. When we get notes back that I find disputable, as in here is the screenshot or game moment that contradicts the note, I will send it. I've been doing this long enough that maybe I'm no longer scared. I am kind of done with being nice. If the note comes back and I can say you're wrong, then I'm going to do it. And sometimes that leads to adjustments. Sometimes that leads to that's how it is now. Usually it leads to that's how it is now, and we just roll with it. But so it goes.
But Ian, the mandates aren't real. You can do whatever you want.
I'm going to stop calling them mandates and just call it rules.
Yeah, that's what they are.
I know they're synonyms, but people have clung to mandates like it's some kind of holy parchment that's handed down on high, when really all the back and forth are like notes in a Word document.
Yeah. That's why people are like, they don't exist.
Two. No, you. But no, it's I make it sound more confrontational than it is. It's notes come back and it's like, okay, I see what they want to do with it, and we adjust them, we move from there. It's only on the rare occasion that it's like, okay, I've written a scene with this in mind because that's what I know. What is it you're telling me to do here? And we get clarification from there. And sometimes it leads to some really cool stuff. Like we mentioned last show, there was no in-game precedence for Blaze's palace. So in the script, I said, what you want me to do? And we got design notes back on what we should do with it. And that is super, super cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exciting. Actually get some insight, and now we get to actually see what the Soul universe actually may look like, possibly.
it's as close to canon as you can get until it actually shows up in the game.
Yeah.
Like, usually I'd say, it's the comic, it does its own thing, but this is pretty close. This is pretty close to official.
Pretty much. All right, next question comes from Cassidy J. Were Cassie and Clove in any way based on Anna and Elsa from Frozen? I'm just curious.
I had to ask Aaliyah directly, and she looked at me like I said something in Swahili and said, "What? No, they're not remotely related, aside from the fact that they're sisters."
That groan in the background was perfect timing.
That's not to you, Cassidy. The
Don't
playoffs
worry.
are going on right now, and it's a very tense game.
Don't worry, I might be cutting that out. Might be, but it's still funny.
Double overtime.
I know.
Double overtime, huh?
Double
Wow.
overtime.
Wow. Man, they're playing hard. All right, our next question comes from the greatly named Somewhat Gooey. Only somewhat gooey, not totally gooey. Just
That's
somewhat.
somehow worse.
Just somewhat.
Ah.
IDW Sonic is canon compliant, which means the science of the universe is identical to that of the games. If the Sega higher-ups must approve everything you guys come up with to make sure it aligns with their rules, does that mean that certain story elements, examples are Super Neo Metal, and therefore the ability to go super via Master Emerald, are possible in the games? On that note, is Metal Sonic achieving a super state the same as an organic being, such as Sonic going super?
We touched on this before when somebody was asking what's the difference between robots and organics going super off the Master Emerald, and it just gets a collective shrug out of me. It doesn't seem like organics can go super off the Master Emerald, and synthetics seem to get a temporary transformation. I don't know. And what happens in the comic is not necessarily going to set precedent that the games have to follow. So, we follow what the games dictate as best we can, but if the games decide to change things up, we are the ones that play catch up. They don't follow our lead.
And our next question comes from Joe S. I'm not sure if anyone's asked this, but there's a small thing that's bugged me since the later Archie days. Do you know what happened to the world's most way past cool comic tagline on Sonic? I've always wondered why around 235 it just completely disappeared. Was it a mandate? An in-house decision at Archie? Did someone just really hate it and want it gone? I'll admit it was a bit kitschy, but being around so long it felt like a staple of the book, akin to Fantastic Four's world's greatest comic magazine.
I think that was around when the reboot happened, so it might have been a decision to differentiate it from what came before. I don't know. That was probably an editorial decision or above that. I don't know. That wasn't part of my realm of influence.
Well, 252 is when the reboot happened, so...
252. Yeah.
So it had disappeared before...
Oh, so that was 2 years before
A few
that,
years
roughly.
before, yeah.
Yeah, shut my mouth. I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I have no idea.
I don't know.
Sorry, I was thinking it was 232, but no, it's 252 because everyone was making the new 52 reference, and I absolutely hated it. And yeah, no. So, no, I have no idea. Because that was well into my run.
Yeah.
And that was well before Paul passed the torch to Vin, but well after Mike passed the torch to Paul. So I have no idea.
I don't remember... I don't remember it being on, like, the really old books. Going way back. I don't remember when it started to show up, but...
Probably around Justin Gabri's time, because that sounds like something he'd do. But I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I don't know either. But maybe you know the answer to this last question, Ian. This one is from Vesper Woman's #1 fan, Patrick. Were there ever plans to give Vesper Woman a human name, like how her sister Quake Woman is called Tempo?
I don't remember. I don't think so. Because in the universe, Tempo was built along the same lines as Rock, as a child and companion with the side bonus of being a robot master. Vesper Woman was built specifically to be a sister companion to Quake Woman, not a individual in the same way that Tempo was. But you could argue that if she's supposed to be a sisterly character, she might have had another name. I don't think we did, though. Then again, she barely got a chance to show up in the book before things went south.
Yeah,
so
I know. I'm like, she just barely even in there before you could.
She might have. I have a hard time seeing her de-armor the way that Quake Woman does. You dig? Like, I can't see Gutsman or Quickman de-armoring into just normal dudes like Rock does. And I can't really see Vesper Woman doing that. So I think that's kind of the distinction, you know, who gets a people name.
I guess. I don't know. They should all have just normal names. And then their titles are their Robot Master names.
Maybe. Yet another Mega Man remix to be had.
Sure.
There you go.
Sure.
Everybody's the Super Sentai.
I mean, why not? It's already halfway there. Everyone's color coded, so might as well.
Oh dear, I'm getting ideas. But before I get distracted with that, Vesper Woman's #1 fan Patrick has a question for you, Kyle.
Oh boy.
What is the hardest video game you've ever played?
I feel like I've answered this one before, but I'm not sure. It's whatever game Aaliyah's watching right now. No, actually, it is. I'm thinking about it, and it might be Super Mario Brothers 2. The Japanese version, not the American version. The American version's like a pushover. You can beat that one in like an hour. Super Mario Brothers 2 Japanese version, you know, aka the Lost Levels, aka for super players. It's Kaizo Light, I would say. Kaizo Light. There's some troll blocks that force you off platforms. There's wind. There's Luigi, who is more slippery, but he jumps higher, so there's that. Yeah, I think that might be amongst the hardest that I've ever played and actually like stuck with long enough to actually beat. Because usually when a game is too hard, I'm not one to really sit there and really go for it unless I really like the game. Otherwise, like if I don't like the game, I'll just be like, well, that was fun. I'm done now. Unless I'm streaming it, in which case, yeah, I'll put up with it. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like any other games I've played that are actually hard and that I've stuck with. Jeez. Honestly, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night was a pretty tough game, but it wasn't insurmountable, so it wasn't that bad. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Super Mario Brothers 2. That's gotta be up there. As far as like official games go, yeah, that one's tough. Definitely tough. There's some Mega Man games too that you might be able to throw in there that I've played through, but I don't know if any of them are quite as poorly designed as Super Mario Brothers 2. So yeah, we'll go with that. How about you, Ian? What's a hard game you've played?
Well, I'm bad at video games. I don't think that's a fair question.
I'm not great at video games either, but you know,
you're better than I am. I'm gonna bow out of that one because I feel like I could say anything, and folks will go, "Really, really, really." Let me put it this way to you kids out there: I never legitimately beat Super Mario Land 2. Okay, I couldn't get past first stage Wario. That's how bad I am at video games. I've never completed a Mega Man game of any variety.
Okay, Mega Man I understand, but Super Mario Land 2 is like dirt easy, dude.
I know. I have, like, if I could get to Wario Phase 1, he would wipe the floor with me. If I could get to him, Kyle. So I'm not going to say what is the hardest game because that's like asking a slug, how much salt can you endure? The answer is Bad times.
Is Animal Crossing hard?
Depends on how you play it.
Okay. I'm wondering. I'm asking that legitimately. I didn't know. Because I've never played Animal Crossing.
And quite literally depends on how you play it. Like if you try to go full min max absolute conquer the island manifest destiny, you can burn yourself out. If you just pick it up and play casually, if you pick it up and play it casually, like, this is my relaxation time. No real challenge.
Okay. It seems like it's just maybe like not so much difficult as it is just a lot of work. Like a battle of attrition. You just keep going.
Like if you approach this in a 100 completionist aspect, prepare for tears. But otherwise, no, it's pretty chill. It's pretty cool.
Okay, good.
You know who else is pretty cool, Kyle?
I think all the people who give us money are pretty cool.
They are cool, and those people are Rachel W., Godzilla, Invader Turbo Tunis, Chaos Universe, Scorched Freedom, Sonic Legacy, Lauren W., Jonathan D., Jennifer H., Sony, Owen B.D., Preston M., Salute Your Cat, BlueTidalGamer, Koopling Crew, Yami M., Andrew D., Final Neil, Tick Tick, Justin S., Papadripopolous, Silly String, Takaro, Overthinking Films, Lisa M., Torchbound, Scruffy Matt, Diane W., Don B., Chevelle, Chris A., Doaz Diz Den, John B., John M., Jennifer R., Mike B., Samuel P., Robotnik Holmes, Daniel H., Alex P., Justin G., Dave M., James K., and Sam Cybercat.
That was a different order than usual.
That's because I opened up the spreadsheet in Excel.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Because screw you, Patreon, for cutting off the names of the patrons in the flow sheet. For pity's sake.
Yeah, that's... why you do that, Patreon. Anyway, where can people find you on the internet, Ian?
Find me on Twitter at IanFlynnBKC, my personal website, BumbleKing.com, and follow my free webcomic, Drogoon, at DROGUNE.com. Kyle, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at KyleJCRB. You can also head on over to KNGI.org. That is the home of Nitro Game Injection, which is my other show. You can listen to that one streaming live on Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, or you can download the archived episodes of that show over at that website and listen to them at your leisure. You can also find archived episodes of the BumbleKast in MP3 downloadable format, coming out on the same day and time as the YouTube version. So if you're more into audio-only podcasts, head on over there and check out how to subscribe to all the feeds.
You can follow the show on Twitter at BumbleKast, contact us at BumbleKast@yahoo.com, and listen to us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, our YouTube channel, and KNGI.org.
Don't forget to head on over to the Bumble store at shop.spreadshirt.com/BumbleStore and check out the Bumble wares over there.
And give us a watch on BumbleKast Gaming Live, which streams on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/BumbleKast Gaming, usually Sundays at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We also sometimes stream throughout the week, so keep an eye on our Twitter to see if we're going to be doing that.
And that's it. That's all we got.
We'll see you next week, not Wednesday. No 2 episodes this week. Next week for more BumbleKast goodness. Have a good one, folks.
See you later. You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org.
Okay, that went pretty well.
I guess the Raptors won, which is
yes, they did.
Which is a good thing, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Now it goes into the 7th game, which is this Friday, apparently.
How it's the playoffs, or?
Yeah, I guess, apparently.
Okay. Well, yeah, I know it's a very truncated season for reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
Double overtime.
Yeah, who were they playing against?
Boston Celtics.
Oh, that's right. You said that. You said Boston. Durr. I heard you. I remember things. Just kidding. I
Looks
don't
like
remember things.
Boston held command for most of the game, or at least kept things tied up, and then Raptors managed to take it at the very end.
Nice.
Clever boys.